I'm so excited to talk with the two of you. There is so much to get into. I mean, I would love to start before you even donned the sunglasses. What had you putting them on in the first place? The choice to go on to the Amazing Race, because I know that the two of you had obviously worked together before, and you had said that you would spend some time apart. So I'm keen as to like, A, what made you find your way onto the race, and B, what made you find each other as partners.
Well,
Busy, take it away.
we, yes. Um, a friend of mine was reached, who just happens to be a Wisconsin influencer, do not have any sort of follow on Instagram. So I was not reached out to. And so my friend who has many followers on Instagram was reached out to, and she wasn't the right time of life for her. So, and she told me about them reaching out to her, and I said, "Oh my God, I would die to be on the show." My husband and I had watched the show while we were dating, just to get like ideas of where we wanted to go on our honeymoon and stuff. And I could never run the race with him. That would be absolutely terrible. But Sunny, when you really have to find someone that has a different set of skills than you,
Hmm.
and Sunny does. And I have followed her. She's been a hero of mine personally, and to be able to have the opportunity to have her as a partner was like a badass situation. I could not avoid. I mean, it was just meant to be, meant to be.
We may look a lot alike, but we are very different in personality and skill. So
Well,
it worked. It really did work out great.
yeah, I mean, from that
Mhm.
perspective, you speak at one point about how, you hadn't been working side by side together for a number of years. So you're still kind of like rediscovering that way of communicating. Did you find that was the case? Because we didn't see you arguing too much with a couple of discrepancies. Did you find yourself sort of getting along for the most part, or did those different personalities kind of butt over the course of the race?
We got along great. It was the best. We were together for about a month, and so we really just got along great. We solidified our relationship was awesome. We were both moms and of new young kids, so we had a lot to talk about, and that part and as far as that aspect goes, we got along great.
And
Even
we
on
rec-
race day, we complimented each other well.
yeah.
We really like balanced each other out and kind of said like, okay, you're taking the lead on this one. Sometimes you're going to be good. Sometimes you're going to be good. So we kind of just like, you know, the challenge was for us that we don't work together all the time. Like a lot of couples have the navigation skills that they know like, hey, I know what you're thinking. And that's not, maybe we should do this instead or something. We don't have that kind of working relationship together. So that really is, I think, where we struggled.
Well, what the analogy for me in explaining the difficulties we had was like, as a couple, you guys go to the grocery store and you are making hundreds of little tiny decisions together whether or not to fill that cart up. You know what I mean? And oh, we're gonna spend $3 on this. Oh, we're gonna have dinner this night. Oh, this is what this. And that to me was, we recognized that that was going to be a pitfall for us because we don't live together. We don't go grocery shopping together. We don't get to
We
spend a
don't
lot
make
of time.
driving directions together.
We don't make decisions like, oh, can I turn here? Are she going to get pissed at me if it's the wrong way? We don't make those type of decisions together. And so that we recognized very early on that that was going to be our problem, which is why we'd like to come back for an all-star season and prove that our navigation skills can be taught and that we can win the amazing race.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
Yeah.
let's talk about what you just manifested right here, hopefully, which is, of course, the navigation issues. We gotta start with where things ended. How long and how many plazas do you approximate that you visited as you were just trying to find one? And what was going through your head? Because obviously this was not the first time that you had suffered from that, but still made up time. Did you feel like, okay, despite the fact that we cannot find this plaza, there's still a chance that we can catch up and survive the day?
I knew from the moment we hit like our half hour mark looking for that plaza, we were done. I just knew it in my heart
But
that
I'm,
no
when
teams
I,
were going to make those poor of decisions or take that long at one station and be able to recover. But in our defense, I have never seen a plaza that's like a food court. And so I was not looking for a tiny little bistro in the middle of a street. That's not a plaza to me. And so I was like, oh, you mean this food court? I don't understand this at all. We passed it probably 30 or 40 times. We're right in the area and we just didn't see the clue box. It was hidden. So I don't know. I just really think that their definition of a plaza was misinterpreted.
Oh yeah. Our only hope was that Juan suffered dehydration from food poisoning at that point. And then he passed out and Shane had to drag his body to the mat, and hopefully we could catch up then.
Or somehow those alliances got into an argument and all three made really bad decisions.
Yeah. What was your reaction to that? Because again, you two kind of ran your own race, partially due to the fact that you were kind of on your own due to navigational issues, but seemed like the one time that you really did try to partner up with Yvonne and Melissa, you experienced firsthand this alliance kind of blocking you out. Was that something that you handled in the moment with a little bit of emotion, or was it for you like, listen, I understand the race is the race, do what you got to do?
I mean, it hurt. It hurt.
It hurt
like
really bad.
Felt like high school, getting pushed out from the cool kids. It is a race for $1 million. If I would have thrown their bodies under the bus as well, so I can't blame them. But it hurt. It hurt like high school.
Yeah,
I felt outsmarted, and not by two of the teams, but just by Danny. And that hurt. Danny is smarter as far as the race goes. And so he knew I just thought it meant first come, first serve. That's like I don't know, proper way of saying welcome, and it actually meant you can stay until you finish.
So going to your navigational issues, it's because again, this was, your real Achilles heel because you all killed those tasks. Why was it so constant? Was there like this one thing that you had trouble with? Was it just always, different issues at different times?
It was that neither of us speak Spanish.
Yeah, the Spanish thing in the streets definitely had a big portion of play in there, I would say. But also, not to throw Bizzy under the bus, but she knew she couldn't drive a stick, and so she was automatically the navigator, and then she only practiced driving a stick and not navigating, I think. I don't know, Bizzy, what do you think?
In hindsight, I will take navigation seriously.
Well, it wasn't all
for the All-Star season,
I
will be taking navigation more seriously.
There we go.
Or vice versa.
Exactly.
I'll navigate next time, and Bizzy can learn to drive stick.
Verbal contract. It's now written in stone. I mean, look,
yeah.
A lot of sometimes the struggles weren't all necessarily in navigation. Of course, I have to bring up maybe one of my favorite wrong answers I've ever heard in Amazing Race history.
Rat?
Mama Rat and Baby Rat, Double H hockey sticks around the world, and then did yoga. I mean, I know there's a lot of pressure at the time, but I would just love to hear what was going through your heads during all those attempts.
First of all, let me just say, out of all the seasons that we watched, and then to see ours even, I will rate that episode as probably the top 2. That was the best. And looking at it from an outside point of view, I was like, what in the heck were those girls thinking?
Well, so I don't know what that type of puzzle is. Like Danny knew like exactly what type of puzzle that was and what it was. So my imagination was that we had to remember these pictures in a certain order. So then I was creating a story in my head.
We both were.
Of this. So I thought we were going somewhere else and arranging these pictures in the order that we saw them in. So that's where that whole thing came from, is the Mama Rat took the baby rat on a ski trip and then did yoga. So I was just trying to create something absurd to
memorize it all. Yes. We thought it was a memory challenge. And
also in hindsight from episode 4, from that Chota 13 challenge, is that should have written down what we checked in
Mm.
because we
We
both
couldn't write
thought when Phil
anything
took
down,
the
Busy.
mat, you couldn't
We
we
couldn't
had
write
pen and
anything
paper
down. That
written.
was part of the
Oh,
challenge.
they said that on the clue.
Yes. We couldn't use a pen
Oh,
or have any paper.
because we could have both sworn that we had said you instead of we
Yeah.
to
I
the
mean, when you
guy.
get into the
And that's
30s,
why
20s and 30s, you're like, man, I swear I said all of that stuff.
and
Yeah.
another this also came up during the flag challenge, the very first episode, second episode, right? Second.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Is that we had taken the correct leg down. It was how it was taken down and put up that was the problem. It wasn't the flag itself. So people are like, "Oh, I don't understand what you guys did wrong there." It's because we didn't do anything wrong. We cut, cut, tie, and you were supposed to cut, tie. So it's been hard. Like those little minute details that were also a killer for us. And it's kind of like once you interpret it one way, it's hard to go back and try to like look
Yeah.
at
With
it.
that puzzle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, we dominated for dancing, so
No, well,
whatever.
let's move from, as you said, you to we, because again, this was an opportunity for the two of you to be able to reconnect and spend a lot more time together in an intimate environment. I'm intrigued to hear what is the biggest thing you learned about the other person racing around the world together. Busy, let's start with you.
I mean, her work ethic is incredible. And it's one of those things like I d- I haven't always seen in myself. Um so just watching Sunny and being able to keep up with Sunny has made me impressed with myself and finding my own identity working with her. Um and having me compared to her is a compliment. And just learning more about how she became who she was and she's got things she's worked through her whole life. I've got things I've worked through in very different circumstances, very different ways. And I'm proud of her and I'm proud of us and we're better because we raced this race together.
Sunny, what about you?
Thanks, Busy.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, girl.
to add a little background to what Busy's talking about is I was raised very blue collar and Busy was raised very white collar. Her dad's the mayor of her town, and they just had a lot more money than what I grew up with, and so I worked as a struggle my whole life to try to make something of myself. So that's the work ethic I think she's talking about. But what I was going to say is my favorite about Busy is how she can work so hard. She is very determined and very capable, and she does it so flawlessly and has fun doing it, which is incredible. You just don't find that, and especially in me, I don't have that like humor and lightheartedness. And I love working with Busy because she keeps it and she makes me laugh every moment of the way.
Oh, that's
There's
amazing.
one point where Sunny and I pull up at to the mat and I think it's in Mexico. I think it's episode 2. And he goes, "Oh, you guys are ninth place." And I'm like, "Yeah, we survived a leg." And Sunny's face is visually like, ninth place,
Yeah.
you know?
I knew we
So
weren't
like
first,
that
but I
wasn't
didn't
good
think we
enough.
were that
That wasn't
far.
good enough for her, but that was good enough for me.
Well, I do feel
Yeah.
like we saw that mix of work ethic and sense of humor, because there would be these like random moments where we'd hear like goof and jokes from you both, and then there would also be, okay, we're behind, let's put the pedal to the metal and get to work. And what you were able to pull off those few times was incredibly impressive. I know racing from the back of the pack is an incredibly tough thing to do on the Amazing Race, but the fact that you were able to do it and get so far as to seventh place and do it in a way that really did seem to be so positive and healthy for your relationship is something you could really write home about. So thank you both for not only taking the time to chat with me, but for everything you
Oh
brought to
yeah.
this season. It was so much fun.
Oh, thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. Yeah, we had
Yeah.
a blast.
Thank you
We
so
had a
much for
blast.
having us, Mike.
Of course. Well, all the best to you and your families, and looking forward to All Stars. Cannot wait to talk to you again. Have a good one, you two.
Okay,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Mike.
Bye.